the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What is going on, Big Blue Nation? All UK Ball Podcast with Rando and Salena. And what in the hell happened on Saturday?
I don't know, but I think your voice explains how a lot of people are feeling right now. We don't know.
Two episodes in a row, even maybe three. Count after Georgia coming on here. Upbeat, excited, saying, hey, the whole season's ahead of us. Talked to Barrow State last week. We laid out this is what we got to do for the playoff. I'm like, there's no way we're going to come out playing like crap after already getting smacked by South Carolina and watching Vandy on our bye week beat the number one team in the country. And then we saw what happened.
Come out and literally act like we've not played in months. Like they weren't even remotely prepared or ready for that game, like at all. I don't know how to describe it, except they weren't ready for that game.
It seemed like the game plan that was laid out would have worked because there was opportunities to score, and we held Vandy to 288 yards of total offense. And again, the defense holds a team who has shown to be an explosive offense to under 20 points in a game. So again, defense does enough where we should have won that game. The problem is when you come off a bye and I just talked about how good the defense was, but there were players on the defense who don't normally miss tackles that are missing tackles. So my question is, are we still practicing hard on the bye week? Are we taking a week off and not doing the things, not keeping routine? That's a question. You know, I love Zion. I watched him early in that game miss a tackle. Like that's not a Zion play. I love Ty Bryant. Ty Bryant is one of my favorite players on this team. He wears number 14. I don't know if you know this. You have to go through like a mini initiation to wear the number 14. It's like mini buds. Like you have to basically be like a Navy SEAL to wear number 14. It's just kind of how it goes. But fellow 14 wear, and then he had he kind of gave up on a play, and Pavia was able to get out of the pocket and throw a touchdown pass. Like just things that our defense normally doesn't do. That being said, they played their ass off, and they definitely did everything they needed to do to win that game.
No, I agree. They did.
So 288, 288 is the number that you look at, and then I think you're getting ready to talk about the penalty yards here, but that's just another thing that is wildly mind-boggling of how that happens.
I don't know how you have 12 penalties for 106 yards. I don't understand. I mean, I know everyone's been preaching this season, last season. Lack of discipline is the biggest issue. I mean, when you have the same people committing the same penalties over and over and over again, and nothing's changing, that's a discipline issue. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, and I don't understand how that just continues to be. It happens. We'll get better. Okay, when you getting better? You know what I mean? Like, when are those changes coming?
Yeah, there's a certain level of accountability that needs to be had, and you can't wait until after the play is over or after the game is over to try to get that accountability into your culture as a team.
Right.
Stoops, I appreciate Stoops' comments that he made today. We came on this thing a little bit later because we were watching the Mark Stoops show. today on Twitter and on the UK Sports Network. And he was like, hey, we had a team meeting and there's a lot of accountability and players were standing up and talking. It's like, that's all good, fine and well. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Perfect.
But how was that not, did that not happen going into Vandy of like, let's show some of the dumb shit we did during the South Carolina game and don't do it again.
Yep.
Like, or talk about the fact of, hey, we went into Ole Miss as multi-touchdown underdogs and we won that game.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let Vandy come in here as a multi-touchdown underdog and get the same result, right?
Okay.
When Brock Vandergrift is playing, he can play better. I think I know that he is not the 5-star plug and play that we thought he was going to be, but he has played well. He's played well enough to win these games. And when he makes plays and he makes the right read and that play gets called back for a penalty, and now we're playing in 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20. That's not
like
his
3
game.
and 32 at one point too. I mean,
yeah. Then we'll get into some of the play calling stuff at the end of the half, and at the end of the game. But like, just focusing. You know what? Barryon Brown and Danke are two of the best players on that team. Okay, if they get you a 15-yard penalty because they can't control themselves, sit them on a bench, take them off for a drive. I'm not saying you cannot afford to take them out the whole game. But if you hold one of your key guys accountable and say, okay, Dane, I appreciate it. You are a leading receiver by a mile. But because you can't control yourself, let's go ahead and put your tail on this bench and we'll get somebody else. We'll put Ferrier in the game and he can run some routes until you can figure it out. And that will spread around the team. That I promise you that will spread around the team. It's no different.
Will see that happening. Like that's how that's common, like accountability, coaching. That's like one of the basics, right? Like I played sports forever, and if someone messed up, if I messed up in a game, I was on the bench. I was like, well, shit. They did all the game, and people saw that, and they didn't do the same thing. And, from sports, you've done that, you've been there as well. But the fact that he just stayed in the game and nothing happened is a problem. Like it's not teaching anybody anything.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's conversations that were had on the sidelines, and you saw Stoops, kind of talking to him. I can't have it, but another thing, I understand the head coach can't be the one to be out there hooting and hollering and screaming and yelling all the time. Like Stoops will tear up the refs from time to time. He'll get in the player's ass when he needs to from time to time, but that can't be him, right? He's the head coach. He got a lot to manage. Are the position coaches like the O-line? You got two dudes who are accountable to most of the penalties on a weekly basis.
Why aren't you in their face? Like be in their grill.
Is that not happening? It just doesn't seem like it is. And you know what? Especially when these holding calls are going away from the play, and that's another discipline thing there. And we have swing guards and tackles. Like again, I just nothing will make a guy play better than putting him on the bench and making him having to compete for a little bit. And if that doesn't make him play better and he kind of crumbles, he probably ain't built for it anyways. Okay. I think those are things that have to kind of get looked at. 5-10 coming off a bye week, over Stoops' tenure. You can't keep saying, it's the players. It's,
right.
Players got to make plays. Yes, they do. 100%. Players got to make plays. Your long snapper has got to get the ball to the holder, and the holder got to hold the damn ball so the best damn kicker in college football can put it through the uprights. That's got to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But my other argument here, and I'm just frustrated here, but my other argument here is when a dude, what was he make? He makes 16 in a row. That operation from snapper to holder to kicker has worked perfect 16 times in a row. But now coming off a bye, you jack it up 3 times. So like, what is happening? Are we not coaching over the bye? Are we not making them do the same shit over? Like, maybe just players can have a bad day. Players can have a bad day, but 5-10, there's a track record there, and that has to be addressed.
It's a top-down issue. It's a top-down issue. I mean, I don't know. You see teams have a bye weeks often, and they're better than they were before because they're practicing their hands off the entire. They're getting better. using that week to get better. Clean up little things, little mistakes. 5-10, that's unacceptable. It's literally unacceptable.
Yeah. And I'll use Georgia as an example. I'm a real big Kirby Smart fan. I'm hoping he's coaching in like 10 years when Jackson starts playing ball. Like like that's a dude who I want to, my kid to go play for, someone like that.
Right.
But you talk to his players, and they have this thing called, I think it's called Blood Tuesday or Bulldog Tuesday, something like that, where it's just every Tuesday through the regular season they are smacking each other in the mouth. It's the hardest practice of the week, and it happens throughout the whole season. And you talk to those players, and he goes, when we get to Saturday, that's easy. Our hardest part of our week is Monday through Friday. So when we get to play the game, this is easy business right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of culture you need to be able to kind of project yourself forward into the SEC and get you up to the higher echelon of college football.
Right.
And the argument of, well, Kentucky just doesn't know how to build it, right? They don't know what that top tier football team looks like. BS. We're in the SEC.
Right.
We've seen Bama do it. We've seen LSU do it. We've seen Florida do it. Georgia do it. So the model is there right in front of our faces. We play them every single year. It's there. You just duplicate it, right? But you got to find the right leadership to be able to do that,
Yeah. And it's not like the fans are behind it either. We have one of the most amazing environments for football games. And it keeps getting better. And fans keep showing up all the time, every game, no matter what. South Carolina, they were there. Georgia game, Vandy game. Like, the Vandy atmosphere was insane. Even with this one coming up over the wearing black, whatever. But this atmosphere was still crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So going into the black and blue, and hey, we want to do a blackout, and all these old folks, we don't wear no black in our blue, whatever. Okay. But at least you had a fan base that was passionate enough to argue about something stupid like that. Stupid about oh no, we need to wear it. We can't do this. We can't do that. We shouldn't be wasting a blackout on Vandy. But at least you had a fan base who was so engaged there. They were arguing on Twitter and whatever social media in the tailgate about that. We were sitting posting out like, hey, let's fill up the swamp with blue, because we were looking to that being potentially a massive game, and it still is a big game, but for much different reasons now. Now this isn't playoff implication reasons. Now it's let's just try to save the damn season, so we can get to a bowl game. Golly,
even bigger now for that reason.
Yeah. But you know what? You're 100% correct. That game is bigger now than it was before. But you're not going to have the same sort of show up, I think, if we would have beat Vandy. And maybe I'm wrong. Big Blue Nation surprises me time and time again, how they travel and they continue to support. So maybe we do get a massive fan base down there. And we'll get into the Florida game later, but golly, if we go there and lay an egg against he looked good against Tennessee, but a backup quarterback now because Mertz is hurt. If we go there and lose that game,
but
buddy,
the track record. UK football and backup quarterbacks, they seem to be our kryptonite. And that's been proven over and over and over again. They'll bring a backup quarterback in, and suddenly it's like we can't tackle, and they're running the field like freaking Tom Brady. I'm like, what? What is this? Hello?
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks,
it's been proven over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, we speaking about quarterbacks running all over ourselves, my goodness, we gave Pavia so many opportunities to go out there, and I said defense played great, but he just made plays that were unexpected of him, and it had looked like we maybe weren't ready for some of the things they threw at us, which we had played a mobile quarterback before in Jackson's Dart. Not the same type of player. He's a throw first guy, and Pavia will first read and then he'll look to run.
Running QBs are bad for him too.
Yeah,
running QBs.
I don't know. I'm frustration rambling at this point. I had my show notes here, and I had key numbers to talk to, and then I just went back to how I felt
And
Saturday
that's
night.
okay. You have to
Yeah.
get it out. I
I
mean,
went to the grocery
we're
store
all
after.
frustrated.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store afterwards, and I still had my Kentucky hoodie on. I just I had to get out of the house, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get something. I'm gonna cook something I like to cook. It's kind of like decompress. I'm gonna get some food. Boom, do that. I'm walking through the grocery store in San Diego, California, and a guy looks at me in my Kentucky hoodie. And he goes, "Eesh," and I was like, "Dude, not
Oh
today.
shit!
I ain't about your business today." Oh man, like, and it was a sympathetic, like, "Oh, sorry, dog, feel bad for you." But even then, I was like, I don't need your feeling badness
Mm-mm.
for me.
We
Okay,
don't need none of that.
just
Mm-mm.
put your head down, walk away. I don't need any of your nonsense today.
Just turn around and walk the other direction.
Yeah, Lee. Uh, but something's got to change.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no. I've said this on Twitter, and I know, and I think fans have a right to be upset. I was upset as a fan, and but
100%.
there's no good in calling for coaching change at this point. There's
I know.
what's gonna come of that? It doesn't make any sense. Still rally behind the team, rally behind the coaching staff,
Mm-hmm.
and let's pray for a magical turn over the next couple of games. Let's get to 8 wins. I think that's probably our peak at this point.
Yeah.
And we'll look back and we'll, if we go 8-4, you'll say like, hey, that's probably where that's what most people predicted us to be anyways. Kentucky fans saw the roster and elevated it. And I'm guilty of that too, especially after Ole Miss. Like, you have that Ole Miss game. You're like, okay, this is the team we thought it was. And unfortunately, Vandy happens and you're like, actually, this is the team we thought it was. So, that roller coaster ride, I'm sure, will continue. If we go down there and beat Florida, we'll get some excitement back. If we beat Auburn at home, we'll get some excitement back, and we'll be all bought in against Tennessee, and we'll have brainwashed ourselves into thinking we're going to go to Knoxville and smack them around. Because
we brainwash ourselves as UK.
Yes, 100%, 100%. It's like, what little nugget can I find to, it's like Michael Jordan, trying to find whatever nugget he can, like get himself motivated to go tear somebody up. Kentucky fans are like, what can we find to give us some belief that we
What
actually
random
win this game?
can we pick on? Like, hey, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah. But there are the outside of all the discipline things and with the penalties and whatnot, I think that all that is the most frustrating because of the opportunities that we had to win this game. If we went 12 for 106, if we go 8 for 80 yards in penalties and make a field goal, we probably win that game because of just the way that things flow. If we don't, you almost have to intentionally try to get to the half-yard line and come away with 0 points. Like you have to as a team come together and go, okay, like, how can we script this so people believe that we're not going to score right now? It's like, how does that happen?
I think that was like one of, don't get me wrong, the whole game had me scratching my head, but being on the half-yard line, literally, and you come up with nothing, I was just like, what? Like you said, it's like it has to be scripted because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. It makes 0 sense how that happened.
Yeah,
but it happened, so here we are.
Yep, and even with it, still had a chance to go down there and, should have been the game-winning touchdown, and the extra point got botched. That's another thing is, like, I would like to know, kind of the thought process from the coaching staff, because watching the game live, seeing the operation between the kicker or the long snapper and the holder getting jacked up twice because, and then, there was the kick for the extra point, and then there was the penalty. So we had a chance to do it again, or you take the half the distance penalty and you try to go for 2. Like, at what point do you look at it and go, okay, like clearly this just it ain't working. So let's just go. Let's run a play, go for 2, and get something, because like I don't. If we get nothing, the result would have been the same anyways. And I'm using a little bit of hindsight there. I know, but like that was my thought. I was talking to my boy who's in the Border Rivals podcast with me. He's just got done. Which, before I continue, this was the biggest mistake I think I've ever made. I'm so excited to do this podcast, except for the fact that Kentucky lost to Tennessee and Louisville.
Oh.
So now on Friday, I'm just going to sit there and just get face punched virtually, because they're going to be so excited, and I'm going to be just still.
You better be prepared for that one.
Big mistake. But anyways, I said it straight to him. I was like, should we go for 2 here? Like, we've already jacked this up twice. Like, let's go for 2. And of course, the thing got jacked up, and throwing the interception and whatnot. But even with all that, like, we had a chance to go down there and score. And we have some coaches that listen to the show. They comment on it. So I'm going to be talking kind of directly to them here. And, Salena, someone who watches a lot of football, please chime in. The drive that we had before half, we end up giving them the ball back. It was something where it should have been like a 4-minute offense type drive. Now, there were some drops and whatnot, but our run game was absolutely dominant. We had timeouts still, and we throw the ball 3 straight times, pull no time off the clock, give the ball back to Pavia. They come down and score a touchdown, go up 14-7. The reason why being aggressive in that moment and throwing it 3 times and unfortunately come back to get us, and why I didn't understand it, was they got the ball back at the beginning of the second half. So giving them the opportunity to go for a 2-for-1 there and score, whether it was a field goal or touchdown, and then just sure enough, they come back with the second half, they get in field goal range, and now they're up 17-7. So why not trying to run the ball and grind the clock out? Because no matter who we play, that's the one constant, is our run game is dominant. It's dominant. Yeah. So why not do that and try to get down the field, at least run the clock out, even if you went 3 and out, running the ball, you burn clock, and they don't have all that time to go down there and score, or they have to.
That confused me too.
Yeah, or they have to play kind of outside of Pavia and Vandy's want to, where if they want to get down the field quick, they got to throw it deep, and that's just not their game. I didn't understand that. I did not understand that. I also didn't understand. Go ahead. Sorry, before I get into the end of the game.
I think that was confusing because usually we will run, maybe throw a pass, run, maybe throw a pass, run. And it's like that completely went away. And then, like you said, 3 and out quickly. They scored and they got the ball back. And I didn't understand that either, because that seemed to go against what Kentucky football typically is or has been. If that makes sense. Like you said, we are very run heavy, run dominant, and it just was not there.
It just I don't know why we changed up our identity there in that drive. Which leads me to this: we get to the end of the game. A 2-minute situation. If I remember correctly, this is right after Barryon made the incredible catch on the sidelines. We go down. It's 2 minutes and 3 seconds on the clock. They had just reviewed the catch, and I hope I remember this correctly, but this is how my memory was. And basically, they just reviewed the catch. 2 minutes and 3 seconds left on the clock. The time is going to go on the whistle, right? So clock is going to start on the whistle. On the whistle, we snap the ball. You have the 2-minute timeout now. So instead of running the damn ball or throwing a quick screen, something easy, We drop back into so he's in the shotgun. He's already at a 3-step drop, drops back to a 5-step drop to look for something to develop downfield to take a shot for the 2-minute warning. If you haven't watched a Kentucky football game all season, you know, or if you don't know, but if you have watched anything in that 5-step drop range where he's got to go to ain't working. It ain't working. Brock is going to be on his ass. Sure enough, he got sacked. Come back, and so we went from a positive chunk play to finding ourselves in like a 3rd and 20 plus situation. And then we actually made some decent yards back on an under from Barry on, and of course another penalty going. But I would love for maybe I can find a way to cut this, put it out there. But I would love for a coach to explain to me when you have that timeout, that free timeout, why not quick screen game or just hand the ball off to Sumo and let him go, right? Especially when they're playing like in that deep safety look. I think they had, if I remember correctly, they had like 5 or 6 in the box. Safety might have come down. It didn't make sense to me. And we were like empty. So the only thing that makes sense there is a quick screen play or a QB draw. The only in that formation, the only thing that would have made sense to me are those 2 plays. But instead, we have
whatever we did.
Drop back and get sacked, and then it was just from there. It was nothing could get going. So would like someone to explain that to me because I don't understand it.
Yeah. So BB, when you listen to this, please feel free to leave your comments. Try to explain the situation and why, or your thoughts as to why that was the called play. Please, because again, as you can tell, we're confused. But I do feel like there have been instances throughout the season where something that's been called and it leaves the fan base going, huh? More than often than not. Again, I don't know why that would be or why that is, but I feel like that's happened this season so far, and we just scratch our heads and we're like, why did we do that instead of something else? But I don't know. I don't coach football like that, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely been some questionable time management and just things that I don't really understand. And it seems like just kind of basic football, and you expect high level SEC coaching to kind of do different. That being said, I do understand it's, the heat of the game. I've coached football, but not at that level, and I have not. My kids running around here that I'm coaching, I might act like it's an SEC game, but it's not. So like the stress level isn't the same. I understand that. But I'm pulling this junk up now because I want to make sure I'm not remembering it.
But the SEC coaches also get paid to be SEC coaches at Rando.
Yeah, that's true. True.
You get paid those big bucks to be SEC coaches. They handle that stress to make those big game time decisions.
But it's getting away from the penalties and the miscues and those sort of things. The offense, it has to find a way to open up to match what the defense does for this team. Like if we average 21 points on throughout the season, we got one loss, and that's if you are looking at the South Carolina game and not accounting for the pick 6 and the turnovers that put South Carolina into a good spot to score easy points. So it's like, how do we get the offense to open up and use all of the pieces that we have?
There's got to be some formula in there somewhere.
Yeah, I posted this out there after his incredible catch, and even with the boneheaded, penalty flag that he got for, just not being able to control himself and pushing the ball in the back of that kid's head. But like Dane Key is a Sunday wide receiver. He's going to be a pro guy. He has the physical gifts to do it, and I think Bush is highlighting him well I'll continue to pat myself on the back when when we talk about that Julio Jones role at the beginning of the season,
Yep.
kind of like
Yep.
that he could be that guy. But that being said, he can't be the only dude Brock is locked into and throwing the ball at. We have too much talent on the team to where like it can't be Dane getting 9 receptions a game and everybody else falling in 3 and 4 receptions a game. It's just that's just not how it's going to work. I appreciate Bush being able to kind of scheme him open and getting Brock a first read to Dane Key, but the interception that he threw that ended up getting called back because they said it touched the ground. You got 2 dudes running routes down the field that are wide open. I'm sorry, yeah, you had you had the I think it was Jamori streak down the field just outside of the just outside the hashes, and then you had Sumo underneath, right? So first read underneath, then it's a levels concept, right? So he just was locked on a Dane Key, and I mean he was double covered, so he came down, and so it's like he can't be the only dude. Dane Key can't be the only dude Brock is comfortable throwing the ball to, and we have to be able to get other dudes involved. I'm gonna pull up Kentucky's receiving stats and reception line just because it's of how like wild it is in comparison between Dane Key and everybody else. So receiving. That is so for the season. Dane Key 31 receptions. Barryon Brown's got 20, so 11 reception discrepancy there. Here's the wild thing is the second leader in receptions is DSK. Jamor Macklin has 6 receptions on the season.
That's a crime. I'm sorry.
6.
That's a crime.
Jordan Dingle's got 7. Ferrier's got 7. Willie Rodriguez, who we see be dynamic on the field, even without the football, I feel like his earned touches, he's got 1 reception. Now that 1 reception went for 25 yards. So
it did.
I guess, yeah. So he's 1 reception for 25 yards. That's considered an explosive play. Let's not give him the ball more times. That wouldn't make any damn sense.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Come on now.
Man. Like, we should be putting defenses in a pretzel based off the talent that we have. Yeah. And that's my assessment. People will be like, maybe they're not as talented as you think. And maybe that's the case. But when they get the ball, they do phenomenal things. When you throw Dingle the football, he catches that thing and it's like he knows this is probably my only damn perception of the game. So I'm gonna run some dudes over and I'm gonna get some yak. It's like feed that dude, man. Like find ways to manufacture him touches. The offense has been frustrating. I expected more of it. I think that's why. And maybe, like I said, I've said it 100 times, and maybe my expectations were elevated, and I didn't have the right assessment on it. But you see the flashes on the field, and you go, "It's there. It's there."
The pieces are there. We have a lot of key pieces.
Yeah, Barryon was absolutely torching that Vandy defense, whether it was on kick return, the punt return that he had that unfortunately got called back because of another penalty. But when he touched the football, Vandy could not do anything to catch him. Like he was absolutely explosive, like we know Barryon can be.
So fast.
So like, let's find a way to get him the football. Like telling Brock, like, hey, like there were so many of those just deep drag routes underneath. Like, let's clear everybody out, get the ball to Barryon, and he just wasn't getting it. It's like, especially with the helmet communication now, I don't know if it's happening, but if Bush isn't be like, hey, dog, Brock, my guy, this read is here. If not, boom, here. Like, this is what you got to do. Like, with boom, you got it's down to 15 seconds, so let's get that play in quick. And I mean, help them observe the defense. Like, hey, Brock, this is what I got. See, let's send some dudes in man, okay, or send some dudes out there in motion. Boom, easy man call here. Okay, all right, send a guy out in motion. He does the fake clap thing. Okay, we got zone, fake clap. This guy's coming. Like let's feed him some information and help him out. I don't know. It seems like those things are happening. Maybe they are, and it's just not being digested. I don't know. It seems like there's openings in the offense that we can try to exploit that we aren't, and I don't understand why not. So that at this point, 5 these games into the season, you would think you'd start seeing it by now, and we haven't. And I'm starting to think my talking of like, hey, we're going to, after the bye week, we're going to see it open it up. By the time we get to X game, we're going to see it open it up. I think eventually it's just like, nah, this is what we got. This is it. It is what it is. We're going to win by getting 200 rushing yards and Brock, getting 150 yards passing, and we just don't turn the ball over. Win time possession, we're in the turnover battle, and that's just kind of how we're going to be, and we're going to win games in the 17-point range, which is a dangerous place to live in college football, but I think that's ultimately what we're going to be at for this season.
Sometimes it I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like sometimes it's very one dimensional, right? Or it's like the offense is and still in its very basic stages. Does that make sense? Like it's like, here's this, okay, cool. Here's this, okay, cool. And there's nothing like what's I'm looking for. There's nothing, I don't know.
It certainly isn't dynamic.
There's no dynamic to it. It's not multidimensional. It's just here, and that's the only option you have. So it's like it's still in the basic elementary. We're still learning all of these plays level, but you can't be there still 5 games into the season. It's not working. I don't know. Maybe that's my take, and I could be wrong. I might be. I don't know, but that's just my take on it. There's no dimension to it.
No, it's not. It's not shiny. It's not flashy like Liam Cohen's offense was. I would be curious to see how these players could do in a Liam Cohen offense, and if that would help. The way he opens up the field, if that would help Brock some. We'll never find out. The thing with Bush, I think Bush Handham's offense matches Stoops' personality a little bit better. So having the OC and the head coach kind of more simpatico than Liam Cohen and Liam Cohen kind of out there, flashy, want to take a lot of shots downfield, a lot of motions, a lot of, try to confuse the defense. Not so, I would say up tempo, but a little bit faster. Bush is more of a grind it out. He take explosive. Like I said, he's used to having, last year he had Genty on his team who, you give the ball to 10 times, he's going to have 300 yards rushing. Like dude is just insane. That's what he's used to, using the run game to open up the passing game and win that way. And that's what Stoops like to do. So like having the OC and the head coach linked up like that, not kind of more on the same page, I think makes sense. But
it does, but the results aren't there now.
Yeah, we need more results. And is it more of the issues we had last year where it seemed like Stoops was handcuffing the OC a little bit? Is he still doing that? Are there things that Bush would like to do that he doesn't feel like he can, making those in-game play call type things? The breaking tendencies at the beginning of the game where Websack comes out and throws the bomb to Barryon, perfect. That's the stuff we need to be living in. What we saw at the beginning of the game, and we didn't see anything else like that afterwards, especially in a home game against Vandy where you're losing and you got to have it. Like that's when you should be at that play call sheet. Like, okay, I got to go deep in the bag here. Like what's something I can do that can spark this team somehow. It just
something,
it was a dull flame the whole game. There was no spark. There was no explosiveness. It was just enough offense.
Like a little match.
Keep us in the
petering out.
Yeah, it was.
It was something.
It was something, but we it's on to Florida now, right? Like this will be frustrating, but the team has to put it behind them, and we got to go from there. We'll see how the offense goes. We'll see if Wilcox has his cleats tied. Look, I think that's probably going to be a talk of the game. Let's see if he'll keep
Oh my
showing.
God.
It's like, let's see how
Look,
much respect they have for the team. Like, my guy, just tie your cleats to make Stoops happy, please, so we can give you more than 3 touches a game.
listen,
I don't know what's going on
I
there.
don't care if the dude's barefoot. If he's getting 10, 12, 15 yards of carry, he's kind of won. I don't care. That is the type of explosive downhill running the team needs.
I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree at all. Now, I will say if they're like, "Hey, dog, we want you to tie your cleats," and he goes,
Mhm.
"Nah," and they come off in the middle of the game, and it pisses the coaching staff off, and this is like the discipline aspect of it. Okay,
Mhm.
that's fine. But if that's the case, just like make it a real point. Like I said, like, hey, if there's some off the field things going on with this player, make it a real point. It's like, hey, homeboy ain't dressing today. Like he's gonna
Right.
get his act. He's gonna get his act together, or he's not dressing. Or we'll sit here and let him dress and stand on the sidelines and not get the ball.
Mhm.
Or hey, bud, go out there and run some special teams. Go out this we're just having you do sprints all game. Just go do special teams. Like
Yep.
these are the things that so like as you play football, those are your punishments, right? It's you don't have a choice. I put out there on Twitter like the story. I'm pretty sure it was a Bill Belichick thing, and these are pro guys where he told these dudes, "Hey, you're going to put on your long studs, right? You have different studded cleats for different weathers and traction or turf or grass, whatever." And the dude went out there and made a cut and fell over, slipped, and the coach noticed he didn't have the right cleats on. Okay, sit your tail down, bub. You don't want to listen. That's what
Yep.
these are dudes who are getting paid lots of money in pros. So it's like there's things you can do. So if it's truly like a discipline issue and he doesn't, I don't even want to just put anybody on the team, not singling anybody out, but anybody on the team doesn't want to listen. Okay, hold them accountable. And we will
Right.
be very, very upset at first if it's one of the key players, right? If for some reason Dion got into some trouble and it was a team decision to sit him down, we're going to be upset as a fan base and we need him to win initially. But that's the type of decision that has to be made of like, okay, we asking for accountability. So-and-so didn't do it and they're sat down. Whether it's for a
That's
drive,
leadership.
they don't start. Even if it's they don't start, just a message that's being sent. Yeah, that's the difficult pieces of leadership because leadership ain't easy. Now, all that being said, looking back at the Ole Miss game,
Yeah.
I think if Stoops didn't have the leadership on this team, if the team was truly just not behind him, I don't think they're picking his ass up and crowd surfing him through the locker room and
No, right.
going IG live and dance with him, all that stuff. They would do that with their position coach. They would do it with themselves because they're excited for a win. I don't think they would go for all that if Stoops truly didn't have a grip on this team. So I believe he does. I do also believe that there's got to be, I go back to 20 minutes ago when we were talking about 5 and 10 after a bye. At some point, you got to be able to look at yourself and go, whatever it is I'm doing ain't
Not working. Not working. I mean, not only that, but what is it like? What is it, 2-12 or 3-12 in the last SEC home games? Like there are teams that have as many home games wins at Kroger Field as UK does. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Vandy has won 2 of the last 3 years. Vandy.
Yeah.
That is unacceptable. I don't care how good, how bad, what conference you're in. It's an unspoken rule that you protect your home turf. That is where you play your ass off and you win those games. You don't go 2-12. That's not allowed.
Especially a team. Yeah, well, I mean, and you don't go 1-3 at home when you're a team talking about playoffs at the beginning of the season. That's
exactly
that is the we have to accept it. Unacceptable is a funny word because it's it happened. You have to kind of accept it, but that's when you look at it, goes but how do we accept it? How? Because it should not happen.
How should the fan base swallow this? Because it doesn't make sense. It's not okay. And these were word talks around their basketball season too, and I get it. But after things that have been said and whatnot, via football, you can't go 1-3. You can't go 2-12 the last against all the SEC teams. Like, that's not, you just can't do it.
Yeah. But hey, it's Monday. Get back into practice. It's on to Florida. We got a big evening game in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they did for Tennessee, they have a lot to play for. They aren't just playing for the university. Like I said previously, or this was in the Border Rambles podcast, because Terrence is a big Tennessee fan. He was nervous about the game, and I was like, yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're not playing. They're playing for the state, right? Like the Hurricanes that
Right.
came through, they're showing all these motivational videos, and the people are traveling to the game who fans traveling to the game who are been displaced and whatnot. So like the football is
Mm-hmm.
their outlet there. So like Kentucky better be ready for that. That the football is their
Yep.
is going to be their small victory in a shitty environment they're in right now, where they're
It's going to have a lot of emotional high for their team, too.
yeah,
And UK's going to have to match
for
that. They're
sure.
going to have to match an emotional high and energy. If not, it might not be pretty. Like, back at TV
Yeah,
or not, like, emotions and energy like that way can carry a team really far.
yep.
And UK's going to
And
have to
and
match
this
it or exceed it. So,
and this team has to play angry, like they played angry against Georgia and they played angry
mm-hmm.
against Ole Miss. Okay, if they play angry or overhyped like they did against South Carolina or Vandy, and that turns into penalties, like this analogy just popped in my head. Did you the show on Apple TV, the soccer show, Ted Lasso? Did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
No. Don't
Um,
hate me, BBM, but no.
You never watched that? Yeah, okay.
I don't think so.
I'm slightly judging you with Ted Lasso. Everybody else in the world will know what I'm
That's
talking
fine.
about, except for you here. But
Probably.
he makes this sign that says "Believe," right? And one of the old coaches
Mm-hmm.
goes away. He rips up the sign and he throws it around, right? And they have it on video. And Ted Lasso's like, "Hey, don't show the team this video. It's gonna get, it's gonna push the wrong message." Well, the assistant coaches show the team the video of him ripping up their belief sign that they fell in love with and they touched before every game. And the team went out there and they just got a bunch of penalties, and it's soccer. So they were like slide tackling and being aggressive and
Okay.
and Ted Lasso was like, I told you not to show them. Like we need them to play, aggressive, but we can't have them play emotional. Like we need them to play disciplined, not emotional. We got to keep ourselves from playing emotional football, because that's when someone will walk up to you and start running their mouth and you retaliate and you get a penalty flag. You know what?
We don't need more of those.
You know what's way more satisfying than chucking a football at somebody's face or pushing them pushing them off you,
Score
or
touchdown on them.
win the game. After
Mm-hmm.
the game, when everybody's walking from side to side, I walk up to them and be like, "What? You got something to say now, bub? Yeah. What's the scoreboard look like? See you next year." That's when you start running your mouth, right? Not when not when Vandy gets to come out after the game and stand on the UK symbol at half court taking the IG live, or half field taking IG live things. Like
that can't happen. Like, that is embarrassing.
Yeah,
That is awful. If I was the
absolutely.
players, I would be embarrassed. I'd be so angry. Like,
I don't actually mean this. I partially mean this, but I don't actually mean this. If I was on that team, I'd have somebody who was like a walk on. I'd be like, "Hey, listen, dog, you're going to be suspended for a game probably. I need you to walk out there and punch somebody right in the mouth. Like that cannot just go out there and jack somebody up. Like somebody who wasn't like real important on the team, just walk out. I would have done it. As I walk on, I'd be like, okay, I got, somebody that's like, you're not going to miss it. Hey, we can't let this happen. Go send a message. Like you might you might miss some time. Kentucky might kick you out, but like sorry, bud, you're the sacrificial lamb. You got to go out there and jack him up.
listen, you might not play football for UK ever again, but go knock that dude out, please.
Like I said before, I didn't actually mean it. Just kind of mean it, but not actually mean it. So don't judge me. But all right. Well, hey, that was a good therapy session. Like we said, on to Florida. Let's go down there, whip their tail, and physical, like whip some gator tail, and just reset the season again. And let's go game by game, and hope and pray that when we get to the end of the year, we're looking at a good bowl game, and back to saying, hey, we got everything to play for the season. Looked dreary at one point, just like it did early in the year. But the team's back, and we have, we're excited for the football season, and we're happy with how the end result was. So, any other closing remarks from you? You got anything else that you got to get off your chest? That was a good therapy session for me, so I'll make sure.
I think we needed it. We needed that therapy session. So,
all right. Well, Salena, I appreciate you as always. Go pick up the kids from band camp, and we'll get back on this thing next week. But fam, you know you can find us on Twitter at AllUKBall, at @KY_KYSAS, right? I always get that.
KYSAS_.
It's KYSAS_. That's what I meant to say.
There we go.
But hey, jump in there, leave the comments, tell us what you think, give us your own therapy session, and we'll be on next week.
It's a safe space.
It is a safe space. You'll always be respectful from me, whether we agree or not. But we do appreciate it. Hopefully we're on next week talking about a victory, and my attitude in my intro is a little better than it was today. But like always, bleed blue and go Cats.
Go Cats.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.